A new technical directive will be introduced starting with the next round of the 2025 Formula One Championship, the Spanish Grand Prix, aiming to shake up Formula One. But Ferrari could also find another important ally in the tires. The focus will be entirely on the front wings of the teams, especially McLaren. On paper, the Woking-based team is the one most at risk, but it is also true that engineers have known about the new regulation for months. The truth will only emerge on Sunday, following the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix at Imola and the Monaco Grand Prix on the streets of Monte Carlo. The final stage of the opening European triple-header arrives. Barcelona is the most classic of circuits. It is often said that if a car is fast here, it will be fast everywhere, with its fast corners and slower, more technical sections. McLaren enters as the favorite, having shown even in Monaco that it has the most complete and balanced package on the grid. But the Spanish Grand Prix brings with it two crucial factors for race management. On one side, there is the heat, typical of the Catalan track and the first real encounter with the summer core of the season. On the other, there is the layout of the circuit. The fast corners put stress on the tires, which are subject to heavy wear, also due to the high abrasiveness of the track surface. In short, race pace will be key this time. As Ferrari in Barcelona seems to be at a crossroads, is a world championship comeback possible? Or should the focus of the Maranello team's engineers and technicians shift to the 2026 Formula One project? In the Pirelli preview released ahead of the Spanish Grand Prix, it was noted that the forces acting on the tires range from medium to high due to several fast corners, such as turn 3 and the final two right-handers. The front left tire was identified as the most stressed owing to the predominance of right-hand turns. Based on this, the tire supplier selected the hardest compound trio. Looking back at the 2024 season, it was indicated that a two-stop strategy is almost inevitable at Montmello. The preview recalled that in last year's race, all drivers began on softs for the opening stint, except for Alex Albon, who started from the pit lane on mediums. It was also pointed out that the three podium finishers completed the race on a second set of softs. Ferrari can count on a potential technical leap with the new front wing, but also on its race pace. On several occasions this year, the SF25 single-seater has shown it can manage tires well, especially in the second half of races. But the performance in the qualifying session will also be crucial at the Circuit de Catalunya-Barcelona. Starting from the front rows would allow the Maranello duo to set up the Grand Prix more comfortably. At the same time, it is worth pointing out that the work of some teams in Barcelona won't end at the checkered flag. In preparation for the 2026 season, Pirelli has chosen the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya to test its tire range for next year's championship for the third time. The question many Ferrari fans are asking these weeks, after seeing the team struggle in the first third of the current Formula One season, is when will significant updates arrive that could actually make the SF25 more competitive? Race after race, Ferrari has only introduced a few minor updates, but never the much-anticipated package that, in fans' minds, should transform the car from a Cinderella into a real contender, capable of at least challenging the McLaren MCL 39S of Oscar Piastri and Lando Norris. That wait will almost certainly extend by a few more weeks. In reality, a new component will arrive at the Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya, but this will be limited to the front wing, specifically designed to comply with the new FIA parameters for wing flex tests. It was none other than team principal Frédéric Vasseur who confirmed Ferrari's sole upgrade at Montmello. Pressed by Sky Sport F1, the French manager confirmed that in Spain, the SF25 will receive just one update, aimed at complying with the FIA's new control systems. Fred Vasseur confirmed they would bring a new wing like all the other teams, and believed it made sense to bring only the new wing in order to have a clearer picture of how it worked. In short, the new wing will be the focus next weekend. A single part, certainly important, which will need to be analyzed to understand how it affects the airflow vortices throughout the rest of the car. The much-anticipated full upgrade package is expected to arrive next month. Meanwhile, Fred Vasseur remains confident that between Imola and Monaco, Ferrari has made significant progress both in high-speed and low-speed corners. Barcelona, as we know, is a true proving ground for F1 cars. If a car is quick at the Catalan track, it is almost certain to perform well at most other circuits too. The debut of the new deformation tests for front wings has therefore finally arrived, awaited since the end of January. In Barcelona, FIA stewards will follow new procedures to certify the legality of the wings, updating the 3 flexibility tests as described in the technical regulations. The new checks involve an increase in rigidity of up to 66%, forcing all teams to redesign their wings. But what are the reasons behind the long timeline? The introduction of such a significant change mid-season has sparked discussion, especially after a third of the championship has already passed. Although the timing is far from ideal, it stems from the Federation's difficulty in understanding how the wings of individual cars deform, which varies greatly depending on each team's aerodynamic load distribution. As FIA single-seater technical director Nicolas Tombazis explained last September, the variation in aerodynamic load distribution among teams, some having more load on the outside, others on the inside or along the wing chord, with designs focusing the load either at the front or rear of the wing, makes it extremely difficult to define a single FIA test that can effectively cover all scenarios. The Federation began collecting data during the Belgian Grand Prix last July, applying adhesive optical markers on the wings of the cars to monitor deformation through onboard cameras. This led to a lengthy research effort that concluded over the winter, though the new flexibility tests could not be introduced immediately. The average time to develop and produce a front wing is around 3 months, which delayed the implementation of the new checks until the Spanish Grand Prix. So how do the tests change? The updated inspection procedures are described in Articles 3, 15.4 and 3, 15.5 of the technical regulations. There are 3 checks involved, going beyond the simple flap flexing seen by the public in nose camera footage. The first test applies a single downward force of 1,000 Newton, equivalent to just over 100 kilograms, on the lower profiles of the wing, 800 millimeters laterally from the car's center line. The maximum allowed deformation drops from 20 millimeters to 15 millimeters, which corresponds to a stiffness increase of about 32%. The second test is similar, but instead applies 2 1,000 Newton loads symmetrically on either side of the wing relative to the center line. The permissible flex for each point goes from 15 millimeters to 10 millimeters, equivalent to a 50% increase in stiffness. Finally, the third test concerns the upper elements of the wing, whose deformation is most visible from onboard cameras. The procedure involves applying a 60 Newton, which is approximately 6 kilograms, force along any point of the rearmost edge of the flap and perpendicular to it. The maximum flex is reduced from 5 millimeters to 3 millimeters, which equates to a 66% increase in stiffness. The wing profiles will still retain a degree of deformation, bearing in mind that no test can perfectly replicate the real distribution of aerodynamic load when the car is in motion. The tests therefore will not completely eliminate controversy, but as FIA single-seater technical director Nicolas Tombazis reiterated last September, the Federation's guideline is clear. The FIA's policy is that if someone complies with all of them and without any mechanism in the car, then it is legal.